Good morning. Welcome to the Breakfast Club. This is Joe Shoup with Shirley, our manager. Hi, Shirley. Good morning. How are you?
Good morning. I'm good. How are you?
I am fantastic and amazing. Drop your, if you can, your screen a little bit. Come down a little bit with your screen. Down, not
That
up.
way?
No, you went up. No, you went up. I mean down. A little more. There you go. There you go. Good morning. Okay, well, we are going to get started right away. So good morning, everyone. Welcome. So obviously you can type in there and say you can hear us, see us, whatever. There you go. Hi, Dawn. Morning, everyone. Hi, Steve. Shirley, I hit those other controls. You didn't go there, right? I already did all that.
Yeah, I saw you did them.
I took care of it. All right. So I don't know if the other two are joining us, but anyway, I'm going to shut my camera off here for a second. I guess we should do that, Shirley. And then I want to bring up a couple of things. There we go. I'm going to bring up a slide, a little slide. I want to talk to you about, and I think this is important because this is part of the communication class. So I spoke with Doug last night. That's the first issue here, is that Doug is still not doing well. He was hoping that I didn't schedule him today. And he still sounds pretty rough. He really got hit. So he will definitely be with us next week. That's for sure. He does sound better, but he's not the best. And he's been working too hard. That's all there is to it. Staying up late and not getting the rest to, anyway, you want to keep him in your prayers. All right, so here's what we're going to do. First of all, I put that in
the chat.
Let me see if I can get Roland and open up his mic. Roland, I don't know if you can do this. Let me see where he is. I'm going to give that a try. Let me see where I find Roland. Where is he? How far down? How long ago did he say something? Because I need him to. I need him. You said in the chat. I didn't see him saying. Oh, there he is. I got him now. Roland, I am going to invite you as a speaker. So whatever that did on your end, somehow you'll be able to get in through that. We'll give that a try. We'll see what happens. This business, if you want to build a business, if you want to be successful, and I say build, I mean that you have transactions going on, there we go, that creates income. So that's what it means to build a business here, anywhere, I guess, for that matter, is that you are going to have a business where transactions occur and you develop an income for others and for yourself. In our business, it is so important to help the others develop their business. But if you don't know what you're doing, how in the world can you do it? If you don't have a plan for your business, how can you go anywhere? How can that business grow if you truly do not have a plan? And that plan has to be written down. It has to be what's called a CCMP, a clear, concise mental picture of the thing that you really want to attain. So, in our communication class, the last part of that class is setting up your business, showing you what to do. So I'm going to go into that today and actually show this for the first time without it being private. So if people that take that class, that class has to be unlocked. It's actually the recorded webinar, a live webinar recorded. And all people have to do is schedule a time. I open it, then I lock it. That very instant they actually get in. But I've never shown the back end. I don't think so anyway, Shirley. Do you remember me doing that or not really?
No.
So I'm going to show a little bit of the back end, and I'll tell you why, because I showed it to Doug last night. Doug is scheduled to take that class, especially after I showed him what the class was all about. Now, I walked him through every phase of it. I walked him through part 1, part 2, and part two is where the business is. And so before Doug got sick, he was actually wanting to take that class. He just wants to see what it's about and how it can help people in business, especially the Kula Brands people. And we have a number of people here today on the call that have taken that class. But I'm going to walk you through the back end of this. So what I need to do, Shirley, is I don't know what happened to Roland. I guess his speaker wasn't working that way. I don't know. But I need to go to another browser here.
Okay.
So this is about business today. It's not so much about this class. It is about business. How do you set up your business? It doesn't matter what company you're in. I mean, most of the people here are probably from Kula Brands. If you invite people to this, obviously they would, and they're not in Kula Brands, then obviously there's some people outside. I do that. As a matter of fact, in the last week, we've recruited 3 people who came from a list, one of my old lists. And I send it out, a private letter out, and sometimes they show up. Usually takes about 7 letters, 7 invitations that they've actually seen, not 7 to go out, 7 that they've seen. I'll give you a little test here. What percentage of emails do you think are open when you send out a notice? Let's say you had a contact manager and you put 100 people in there. How many people do you think would actually open that email? So let me, I'm almost there with sharing my screen. I just have to get that part of the class up. Shirley, keep me informed if there's any answers there.
Okay, there's 5.5. And that was Steve, and Fontana says 20. Catherine says 1%. Don is 2 to 3%.
Who said that?
Don.
Which Dawn? You can scroll over the little icon for email, and don't read the email out loud, but just you can kind of see if it's Dawn Clifton or Dawn McIntyre. It's one of those two.
McIntyre.
Uh-huh. Well, congratulations, Dawn. She's a graduate of the class, by the way. All right, so here I'm actually getting over.
It's time to establish a business.
All right, there we go. Let's see now if I can get this right starting point here. By the way, right before this part is a very, very critical part for part 2 is mainly a review, and then what a director, what a person that's going to do a 3-way call for you, what they should be doing. And I can promise you most people, I don't care what company they're in, have no clue how to follow a pattern and get their objective completed. And we talked about this last week. What's the objective of the director? What is his? I think Dawn answered that last week too. And that's really to get that person, first of all, comfortable. It's certainly an interview that takes place. They ask questions as well when you're done your questions, and guide them into the direction of registration if you think there's a match. But it's so important for that director to, okay, let's here's our business thing. It's important for the prospect to know that although they are speaking with someone, they're basically asking questions. But first of all, you should be asking questions. That director should be asking specific questions to find out, is there really a match here? I mean, just imagine that someone brought a person to me. If I don't ask the appropriate questions, I have no idea whether that person actually saw a 35-minute or a live webinar. If I don't ask the appropriate questions, I don't even know if they're really that interested. I don't know what happened between the affiliate or the community member and the prospect. I have no idea. It's my job to find out what took place prior to this, to find out if the community member did their job properly, getting them to me. So that's a pattern of behavior and dialogue in itself. But then we get down to the director. Does the director really know what they're doing? I'd be very cautious to bring people just to anybody. I'd want to know before I did it, what are you going to do with my person? What is the behavior? What's going to go on? What is our objective here? Is it to beg them and make them sound that Cooler Brands is so nice they should join us? If you're doing that, that's called network marketing. That's the old net school of network marketing. It's not who we are at Cooler Brands. So we shouldn't have directors and people doing three-ways that act like that and tell them how wonderful it is and it's going to be so great. You should join us. Now, maybe some of you disagree, but I can tell you that the method of conducting an interview and getting questions answered, not immediately, not saying, okay, this is Joe, go ahead and fire away, answer all your questions, and maybe we'll be so pleased to have you on our team. It's the other way around. I want to know if that person is right for us. You hear Peter say all the time, we don't take just anybody. We're not looking for the big hitters. I mean, if they come, that's great. This business is built upon, please don't take this offensively, average, ordinary people. That's what it's built upon. That's what we're looking for. People who want to learn how to manage a business from home. Show them our program, show them Cooler Brands, and see if there's really a match. It's a simple, simple process. But if you don't know the language, if you don't know what that director's supposed to be doing, if you don't know how to get somebody over to the director, if you don't know how to introduce properly, wasting your time. That's why the number's so high of people that don't succeed. Let me ask Dawn McIntyre. Let her put that up. What do you think about that, Dawn? These are people that have been through the class. If you've been through the class, comment on it. We have a new member on today. You see him on there. He said hello this morning. His name is Raj. He's from Pennsylvania. I'm going to explain it this week. He's a retired school teacher. Let me back up. He's a retired principal. His wife is a school teacher, retired. And Peter has invited them to talk on the call on Thursday. When do you hear this story?
Don says totally agreed, Joe.
So when you make sure you're on Thursday's call, because that Peter invited him to speak. You know why? Because after someone actually registers with the company, the first thing I do is call Peter or Doug and introduce them. Sometimes I'll call Shirley. But important for me is I'm direct to Peter, so I want them to know they're right there and they can talk. Roger will tell you, had a great talk. You might want to comment a little bit, Raj, about that talk that you had with Peter. Take your time.
He says that's the paradigm shift that he talked about. Paradigm shift he talked about.
Yep. Okay, I'm going to go back and share my screen and see if you see any comments. From that point on, when I start this, don't worry about the comments. We'll just wait till the end. Maybe you can jot them down and go back to them. Right now, I'm going to share my screen and bring up the class at a certain point. Let's see, share entire screen. You're going to see something weird on my screen because that's what this does. Whoops, it didn't do it. Oh, there we go. Okay. Now let me go over to here. All right. Shirley, can you see this is not the end?
Yes, I can.
Okay, let's get some comments in the box. Can everyone see this? Any comments in there?
Oh, Don says yes. Yeah, they can see it
While
now.
we're waiting for that even, I'm going to let you talk for a minute because I need to grab something else. So go ahead, say something.
Well, Steve says he's going to take the class when he gets back from his trip. I don't know what else to talk about because I'm not good at talking. I can talk when I have something in front of me that I'm kind of reading and trying to memorize and read, and at least I know I have like an outline that I talk with. But I don't have an outline today. So you better hurry up.
I'm here.
Okay, thank you.
The more we do this, the more I'm going to just say, hey, excuse me, go ahead, take over.
Yeah, I know. One of these days I'm going to be prepared.
You are prepared. You're good. Shirley works really hard at this, and she's really instrumental in keeping us in order here, and also brought in a new person this week. Well, listen, this is someone been in the industry like most people, never had success. She's not ashamed to say that. And here she is now. I don't know. You've probably taken the class 3 or 4 times, right? Or at least 2 times,
yeah,
3 times.
At least 3. Don says, Don, I got to tell you this. Don says if you haven't taken the class, you must. It is brilliant.
And that's what Doug said last night. So we're going to see. I don't know, like I didn't come here to bring this class. I mean, this class has been seen by, I'm guessing, in the vicinity of 1,000 people over the years, maybe more.
Montana wants to know when the next class starts.
Who asked that?
Montana.
I'll just describe. The class is actually a recording of a live webinar, and it can be taken at any time. It just has to be unlocked upon an appointment. So they can just send an email and put a comment in there. We'll see them later, and we'll be able. You might want to jot down that person's email address for me, okay?
Okay.
All right, so let's go to this. So this is the instructions of the director and what he should be doing and how you should be thinking. And then it goes in. It says this is not the end. It's time to take a look at your current business strategy. Unfortunately, you're going to hear me talking in here because it's recorded. So I'm going to try to get to the right spot. But let's go to the next slide.
It's time to also take a look at your business strategy.
All right, did everyone hear that? I don't know how to get it any louder. Did everybody hear that voice that said, this time to take a look at your business strategy?
I heard it, but it wasn't very loud.
Yeah, there's nothing I can do about that. I don't think it's up all the way. It's because of the speakers that I'm using, which is on my computer. I'll just talk through it. So let's take a look. What is your business strategy? And it basically says, now that you understand who you are in the communication process, and I can tell you now, and a lot of people will verify this, that is a critical statement to say, now that you understand who you are in the communication process, it's time to establish a better business plan, or a business plan and a strategy. So,
what is your strategy? Now that you understand who you are, or at least you should. If you don't, you've lost something there. That is part of your education. You're not going to get that will attract them.
Try to get to the next slide here.
Help them be successful as well.
See, it's a movie.
Moves, a transaction occurs, money exchanges hands, and you're in the.
All right, so we're now at the part where we said, look, to achieve success in business, products and services have to move from manufacturer to consumer. Now, let's establish this at Cooler Brands. It is not necessary or it is not required to recruit or to sell in this business. If all you want to do, and truthfully, that's the majority of the people, the bulk of the people and members are going to want to just pledge on products. Over time, they will make money if they pledge on products. So there's no talking to anybody, no trying to sell. Now, I would guess that the normal sequence of things would mean you would share it with someone, for sure. But let's suppose you didn't. This is the only company you can do this in to date, is that you can support the inventor, support the project, pre-buy, and then receive the product, and do that over time, depending on the overall global sales of that product. We will be making money just for doing that. And that interests a lot of people. But there are the smaller percentage of people who want to actually build a business. They want to move product and service in order to get paid. And that means that they build locations where more product and service move. In our business, our locations are people. They're not physical buildings, obviously. In regular business, you would have to, if you were making $90,000 a year, $100,000 a year in one location, could be a McDonald's. If you owned one, you're not going to make any more money next year by staying at one location. Maybe because prices go up, you'll make some more, a little more. But to double your income in one location is impossible in business like that, unless you did very bad one year and the next year you doubled the income for some. But when you hit your stride, you're not going to double that. You have to have another location. That's what McDonald's owners do. They find other locations. We don't have that, but we need to find people locations. There's the shift from the brick and mortar to the networking arena, the home business arena. We have to find, you want more money? We have to find more people interested in managing a business from home. And what happens when they do that? If they learn properly, they learn to find those people who become customers, who pledge, let's say, who may want to go build a business. The majority of the people they bring will only want to pledge and help the inventor. Initially, it might start out differently, but usually it comes down to, finally, most people are just existing in the company. But those who really want to learn, this is going to take work. Doug and I talk about this all the time. Doug is a successful businessman. And you'll hear that when he actually comes next week. I'm sure he'll feel better next week and be here. But to tell you what it took for him to have a successful business. But you got to find these people locations. If you don't know how to talk, if you don't know how to find those people, it's not going to work for you. What that part of it, you can continue to pledge and so on and pre-purchase and help the inventor. But to build a business, if you haven't done that so far, then it's time for a change. That's what we talk about in part 1. Be careful of the direction you're going. You might end up where you're headed. It simply means you keep doing the same thing over and over again. Nothing's going to change. And when you realize that the change needs to come from you and working at the process of communicating with people. It is not about learning all these wonderful things to improve your life. And look, nothing wrong with, having a success coach and so on. But if in our business, making yourself better is one thing, but getting your communication better is another. If you could be all excited you want and life-changing, coaching. If you don't know how to communicate, you're not going to make it here if you're trying to build a business. So your immediate goals, even in our business, should be to tell some people about it. If you want to build, tell some people about the products. They may not want to join you, but they may want to purchase some products, right? But put that out there, whether it's social media or texting or it's emailing, contact manager. You've got to tell the people around you about the products and services you have available. Not try to recruit them if they're not interested in building a business from home. So stay away from that. But you should be showing everyone. So you get sales. Why? Because we get paid when product and service moves from manufacturer to consumer. That's what happens. You get in the middle of that transaction, you make more money. Put somebody else there to do the same thing. You're still in the middle of the transaction. You know, when a car sells on a car lot, everybody's in the middle of the transaction. The secretary, the guy cleaning the lot and cleaning the cars is in the middle of the transaction somewhere. He gets paid because product and service moved.
Can I interrupt?
Sure.
You know, I got a whole bunch of those postcards, and I put out probably maybe 100. And I looked the other day, and as of January 1st, I have 37 customers just from the postcards.
Oh my. Oh my.
I was surprised.
Well, let's describe what we mean by the postcards. We developed a postcard here a couple of months ago for Zip & Store. And it's very beautifully done. And you might want to look around and see where that is. I guess I could show it on air here. I'd have to go find it. But it's a beautiful postcard that tells about Zip & Store. To call Shirley, call this, buy and purchase. It has a purchase thing on there, where to go to do it and everything. It is beautiful. Now, I say postcard. It's not a little postcard. I forget what the size is. Shirley.
5 by 8, something like
What
that.
is it? 5 by 10?
5.5 by 8, yeah. It's like half of a sheet.
Yeah.
And these people never contacted me. They're complete strange customers. Stranger customer. Well, you know what I mean.
I do. Well, congratulations. That is so cool. So, you know, that's another way. We're going to look at that here a little bit, but that's another phase of your business. And that should be here. Learn how to move a few products. That's the first thing you should do. If you had those postcards in your hand, you could be dropping them off in shopping carts and people would be running around with them, putting them up on those bulletin boards. You could be handing them to people. You could send them to your relatives. I expect people to do that. I just send it to all the people you know. Put a 30-cent stamp, whatever it is, on there, and you know, just do it one time. Guess what? They're going to have that. The postcard's so beautiful. They're not throwing it out. Believe me.
It takes a 46-cent stamp, or you know, whatever the regular stamps are.
Okay. Well, if you did that, I always said do it with 20 people you know. If you know 50, fine. But 20 people you actually know, then give them a call, follow up, and say, hey, I sent a postcard. Did you see it? So learn how to move products, right? Then learn how to find or locate people who are interested in operating a successful way. See, most of you look at this as you're going to immediately go tell them about Kula Brands when you don't know whether they're interested in managing a business from home. If they're not interested in managing a business from home, maybe they'll be interested in the product. So that's why you send this first. But if there's only two kinds of people you can talk to: people you know and people you don't know. There they are. So the people you don't know is where you're looking for people here. Now, some of the people you know will join in with you. I can tell you now, of the amount of people that I have personally influenced in Kula Brands, most of them are just customers. Now, I say customers because they're pledging. I mean, yes, they've joined with me and so on, but they're not building. And most of them didn't want to. They just loved the concept. I can't change their mind. We talk. It's not what they want to do. That's okay, but they love the idea. This is so important, this page, to understand and to learn, to put into action these two elements of your business. That's one. So let's go on and see if I can find the next slide. Must have said a lot on that slide like I just did. So let's see.
Okay. Let's see. Julie wants to know where I put the postcards.
We can talk about that. And yeah, go ahead, tell them.
Well, while you were looking for that, I just thought I put him at Walmart in the people's cars. I put him at the laundromat. I even went into a medical marijuana place, and they were thrilled to get him and I keep putting him in there. I put him in a rock shop where people do, collect rocks and stuff. And I just put him at the grocery stores. I put him in the cars at the grocery stores. So I just put him everywhere.
In the cart, but not car, right? Did you say car or cart?
I put him in the driver's side of the car, in the window, on the driver's side, so they'd be sure and see it. Because one guy, I put it on the windshield, and one guy drove off with it still in the windshield. So I put him on the driver.
My only caution to that is the store probably doesn't like we do that. But if you're getting away with it, great.
Yeah, and then I put some in the grocery cart the other day.
That is very cool. All right, let's look at this. When you're trying to find people, you got to find the interested ones. You have to find out if they're interested. Don't try to interest them. That's what this industry is full of, people who get somebody on the phone, and in their minds, they think they're going to say something magical so that person will be interested. Try to tell them everything that's wonderful and great and so on. It is such a big mistake to do that. You put yourself in a situation where you're going to get rejected by doing that. But there's a technique to find the interested people. You just find out if they're interested. If they're not, you ask them who they know that would be interested in a career change for the right money. Again, that dialogue is taught in the class. These are all about techniques. This class, the reason people rant and rave about it is because it's about techniques. Learning the true techniques of communicating with someone in business. Not tricking them to say yes. I was taught that in the beginning, how to do things to get them to say yes. And guess what happens to those people? They disappear. I don't want them to say, well, sure, maybe, and I'll do it. No, I want someone that says, no, I want to build it. I've never been successful, but I want to build one. Of course, you'd love to have somebody that says, I got 1,000 people I can bring over, and they come over. That's few and far between. So there's a little key right there. What does it take to establish and operate a successful business? Okay, listen to this. You have to tell people that you're actually in business. That's what we said before. Now, this is basically brick and mortar stuff. This applies to all of us. We have to tell people that we're actually in business. You have to communicate through newspapers, radio, flyers, television, word of mouth, marketing system, etc. Now, that's how you would tell whether it's brick and mortar or not. Now, we don't use newspapers, radio, flyers. Sometimes we get radio shows that we have and so on. But really, the key to it is these last two, the word of mouth and a marketing system. You have to be prepared to communicate verbally with your potential customer, affiliate, or community member. Learn how to communicate. And you have to decide or determine whether this person is a legitimate candidate. See, most people are operating just the opposite. They're trying to make them a candidate instead of finding out right up front. Are they or are they not? So we talked about this. Want to expand your business, brick and mortar, open physical, home business, find people locations by communicating your message. Okay, so here's business basics. Ideas. There it is. You have an idea. Now you got to create a plan. You have to implement the plan, and then success comes if you do it right. That's the steps. Keep looking here. Here's your business plan now. Your business plan should include these things. Your goals. What is your goal first? You have the idea. Now you're going to create the business plan. What is your goal in this business? You should have a goal every month on what you want to do. If you want to recruit 5 people this month, then you need a plan. You have to have a plan to do it. You have to work a schedule out. And how many calls are you going to make? How many emails? How many posts are you going to do to make this happen? We have little risk in our business. You know what the risk is? Let me ask that question. Let's see if anybody, let's suppose you're talking to a prospect and you kind of feel like, you know, like they're trying to grasp it and, you know, failed so many times before. Well, I'll just say it. Those people think they're the ones at risk. You know who's at risk? Let's see if you can answer that question. It's not the prospect. See if you can do that. I'll move on. And Shirley, when somebody pops in who they think the risk is, and what do you think the risk is? If they say something, why do you think that person is at risk? So who's at risk here when you're trying to recruit someone? When you actually do influence someone to be here at Cooler Brands? Now, the business plan has to have a strategy. It has to have a strategy. I'm going to wake up every Monday and every Wednesday, and I'm going to spend 2 hours making phone calls, doing posts, replying to posts, communicating with someone to find. Look, you've got to have two things here. You've got to have the language to talk, and you have to have somebody to talk to. So if you don't have a list of people, if you don't have a database, you got to create one. And that's another class. But you got to have a strategy to create, for all things, to create the database and to actually influence someone to be a part of Cooler Brands. And I use that word influence because that's what we use here. I don't want to influence anybody. Just like I said, I don't want to interest anyone. I want to find the interested ones. Influencing here doesn't necessarily mean say the right thing so they say yes. That's not it.
Don says, since we are a community, we're all affected.
Yep. Let me explain what I mean by this, who's at risk. She's right, but I'll tell you who's at risk. Shirley just brought someone to the company. She may or may not be on the call. I don't know if Anne's on the call. You can tell me if she is, but I'm going to tell you this story. Anne is not at risk here to see if this works for her. That's maybe her attitude. She's never had success either. So she registers with our company. She becomes part of the community. She's not at risk. First of all, she has a 6-month money-back guarantee. That's number one. But that's not the kind of risk I'm talking about. Shirley is the one at risk here. Here's why. Shirley's going to spend time, at least she should be, and she has already, getting Anne all set up, getting her over to welcometocoolerbrands.com. That's our getting started page. Now, when I say our team developed that, myself, I think Shirley's a part of that, but Vicki Terry is a genius at this stuff, and I work with her regularly to put this stuff together. So we worked out this Welcome to Cooler Brands to say, here's how we get started. Let's get started here. We have some changes to make on there. That has to be updated a little bit, but that's what we do. We send people there. We tell them about the class, get in the class, and let's go. But guess who's at risk here? If Shirley's calling her and speaking with her, Shirley goes in, which she's already done, took her to her back office and explained the back office to her, although it's explained in welcometocoolerbrands.com. But Shirley now spends a half hour with her, walking her through the back, telling her what to do, how to get started, and they stay in contact. The person at risk is Shirley. Why? Because what if 3 weeks from now, Anne decides that she's not going to want to build a successful business from home. She's not having success. She's not putting the time in. She says, you know what? I'm going to keep pledging, but I'm not going to do this part anymore. Shirley has just spent 3 weeks of her time helping this person get started, guiding them to places, probably 4 to 5 hours. Guess what she could have been doing in that 4 to 5 hours? Anne has benefited. She's got into a company where she can make money whether she recruits or sells or not. Doesn't matter. She's going to be okay. But Shirley could have found 5 more people in those 5 hours, or at least another one. There's the risk. So anybody thinks that they're talking to somebody and they're challenging you with, well, what if, and what if it closes down? They're not at risk. That's why I try to spend as little time on a director call to find. Our director call lasts no more than 8 minutes, 7 minutes, sometimes 10. I mean, but that's it. This is not a let's go over life together and see. Critical stuff here, building your business. Remember what the risk is here. You bond with somebody, you become friends, it's going to be great. And guess what? They disappear on you. They quit. They stop working. Now, you look back, you said, I could have spent 5 hours searching for another interested party. So keep that in mind. This is a critical step here in your business basic. Okay, so business plan steps, how to get started. Write a 1-line description of your company. Describe what you do. Well, believe me, if you can't write that, you can't be in business. It may take time to think about it. That's what you should be thinking about today. If you're not heading in the right direction today, then you need to take step 1. Write a 1-line description, could be 2 lines, of your company. Describe what you do. What do you think you mean by your company? You think it means Kula Brands or you? Financial model. How much capital will you need to operate? Listen, you're going to have to spend money here at times. First of all, you're going to help the inventor. That's number 1. Number 2, you might buy postcards. Not through the company, because that's you're only going to get charged that one, registration fee or membership. That's it. Peter's hesitant, very hesitant in saying, use this marketing plan and go do it for $20 a month, $50 a month. He doesn't want to do that. They're building their own so that we can get it for free. I happen to use an outside company at the moment. But you got to figure that stuff in. Can I afford $20 a month if I were to use something outside of the company? So need to know that. How much do you really have? Show your action plan for success. Then you need to look this up. What are your risk mitigating milestones? Go look up and see what that means. Show your action plan for success. You got to show that. And then why are you uniquely qualified to succeed? In other words, what do you bring to the table for your business? I'll just answer that question up front. They're not talking about Kula Brands here. They're talking about your business. Your business is you. That's what your business is. Kula Brands is a conduit to where you want to go and what you're doing. It's your business that you're building. Thankfully, we have Kula Brands to do it with. We sometimes forget what brings about success in our business. Besides having strong goals, a commitment to succeed, and a passion for your products and opportunity, you still need to take a good old-fashioned we still need to take good old-fashioned action. This is what I'm talking about. I said it earlier. You could learn all the things you want. Develop your passion and recognize it and your commitment and write down all your goals. If you don't have good old-fashioned action, you're not going to make it. See what it says? I didn't make this sentence up. All this stuff has come from the greatest business people in the world. This class is over 18 years old. You still need to take good old-fashioned action. Never forget that, because that's where the crux of your business is, in your actions. How many times have you said, I wish my business was growing faster? Write that number down. How many times you really did that? Let me remind you that you have complete control over how fast or how slow your business grows on a daily basis. It's not the growth of your business that is the key. It's your own personal growth as a person working the business that will determine the speed of your business growth. Here's a checklist for anyone to use a simple gauge to see if you're on track with 7 basic action steps. Now, let me ask this question. What time is it, Shirley? I can't see any clocks.
10:49.
10:49.
Oh my gosh. You want to stay and see the basics here? Or do you want to go? We can end it right here. And we could do this again next week. You want to stay and see the 7 basic action steps? We'll ask that question. People can put it in there. I didn't realize we were this late.
I didn't either.
I must be having fun.
Montana says yes. Don says let's do it.
Let's do it. Okay, so
Yep.
we got people. All right. So let's get to what these action steps really are. Here we go. This is critical in your business. And you know what? I don't care what anybody says. 97% of the people in this industry fail. Now, in our case, it won't be that high because we're going to have people making money whether they recruit or sell or not. But if you want to build a business, these are your action steps. How many hours a week, a day or a week, do you devote to your business? Pencil them in on your calendar. Look, if it's 3 hours, that's okay. If it's 1 hour, it's okay. That's going to determine, really, how fast you grow, right? That's one of the action steps. During that time, are you doing busy work or actually talking to new prospects and or your downline? Great question. What do you think work is, in other words? Do you have a daily goal of how many people you talk to about your product and opportunity, and do you adhere to it? Now, daily goal means the days that you've scheduled to work. I say the most important thing to start with is 2 questions. How much money do I need on a monthly basis to make this worth my time? Number 2, how many hours a week am I willing to put in to get to that? They interlock. Are you carrying your list of names, log, and adding to it every day? Are you building your list every day, in other words? Are you finding a way to build that list? A great way is while you're out, get as many business cards from, you don't have to talk to them about Cool Brands. Talk to them. Look, they when you go to somebody like that, they have the assumption that you're interested in their business, period. You can't turn them around. If you visit a cleaners, clothes cleaners, if you visit a sandwich shop, if you visit a pizza place, no matter what company you visit, you should get their business card. Why? Because you basically could either put them in a contact manager, or you can get their name, send them an email. Most of the people have it in them. Put them on and send them, say, hey, we met the other day. I just thought I'd share with you. Our company's under expansion. We're looking for some really good people. And I thought you may know someone that would be interested in the career change for the right money. You put that statement in there and put your funnel in there, your website, you have a shot at them. How many appointments do you set up weekly following any type of preliminary introduction? Think about that for a minute. Our business of growing is about appointments. Period. That's what it's really about on the bottom line. How many people do you have scheduled to follow up with who have seen your information? That's an appointment. An appointment is not calling somebody. That's a contact to see if we have an interested party. They click on what you have their name, you call them, and you better know the dialogue when you call them. You better know that this isn't a time to explain the company. How many appointments do you really set weekly? Are you attending conference calls? You know what, Shirley? This is the only company that I am interested every week in going to Wednesday and Thursday night. I got so sick of the other companies with the kind of calls they had. Yeah, I just couldn't go every week. I didn't want to. And yet, I mean, that's not the key element to it all, but you should stay up with things. Conference calls, meetings, visit your back office on a regular basis and look at the updates. Do you do that? Are you working with the people you've personally influenced and the ones they've influenced? Right there. Help to visualize your organization's growth goals. Are you checking it daily to see how your foundation for a long-term residual income is progressing? There they are. I'm sure there's others, and there's other people that have other. I didn't make this up. This is a combination of successful people, what they do. So there's your, and then we have a call to action afterwards. Time to take action, right? Andrew Jackson is what he said. Take time to deliberate, but when the time for action arrives, stop thinking and go on. I'll tell you something right now. Write this guy's name down and Google it. You want inspiration? This is a guy that says it matters not how straight the gate, how charged with punishments the scroll. I am the master of my fate. I'm the captain of my soul. You know what? You should know what that means. But go look up William Ernest Henley. Go read this guy's story and see what success is all about. This is a man who was predicted to die. He should have died at 17 and decided he wasn't going to die and became extremely successful. But go look this guy up. That's why it's here at the end to say you can do anything you want to do. You're the master of your fate and the captain of your soul. You have to make the decision. The business of Kula Brands is about you. That's what it's about. It's about you building your business. And helping building a business means helping develop other people. That's what it's about. People, locations, helping them, pointing them in the right direction, introducing them to people, and doing things on a daily basis that create income. Not shuffling, filing papers. All that doesn't mean anything. Calls, conference calls is not, our weekly calls is not part of your daily activity. It's not something that you count and say, I want to work 4 hours a week. Well, that means, and if 2 hours is on those calls, then that means you're going to work 2 hours a week, because that's not working. That's listening. The first thing you do, we have other things to go over at another time, but the first thing you want to do when you get up is, is the activity you're doing creating more income? Because that's what you should be looking at. Is it geared to that? That's the last part of the class. You just saw it. Now you'll get to see it on a replay and see all those things. But I can promise you, without part one and the beginning of and part two beginning, this isn't going to mean anything to you today. All the inspirational, wonderful, do yourself better, feel better about yourself inside, all that's great. And it's necessary. But when it comes right down to it, if you don't have action behind that, forget it. Not going to make it. I'm sorry if people higher up think I'm wrong about that, but I've been here 22 years. I've never seen it happen without action. So with that, if there's any questions, Shirley, we'll go, but there we go. Glad we had this chance today to share this. Also, Doug will definitely be with us next week. You want to hear Doug's story. And Thursday night, don't forget. Raj and his wife, Maria, will be on that call with Peter. Tell you his story. You want to hear this story. And we have other people and updates and so on. But there we go. Any questions, Shirley?
No questions. John said, love it, Jill. Thanks so much for what you do for all of us and your generosity in teaching us.
Oh, well, you're welcome. This is about all of us. It's the only company that my actions affect everyone else and their actions affect mine. People, you know, the more product and service move in our company, the higher the royalty point is, the value of the point. It can be worth $10. It could be worth $100. It's going to depend on gross sales in the marketplace. And everything you do affects me because I have points. My point will go up. So I get the reward as well. My goal is to make sure Shirley has enough royalty points that this makes a difference in her life. So thank you all for being here. Shirley, thanks so much for being a great partner. I appreciate you.
Thank you.
And everyone have a wonderful day. We'll see you next week at the bread. But first of all, go to work today and try to follow these things. Number 2 is Wednesday night is our, we'll call it the opportunity call. That's the company explaining the company. Peter and Doug do that very well. And then Thursday night is a member call. Anyone can go to the member call as long as they have they're either a member or they have looked at the 35-minute video of Peter explaining this company. If they have done that, you can invite them to that call. With that, have a wonderful day. Thanks for being here. We appreciate you. Let's build cooler brands for those that want to build and find the other interested people. Let's do it right. So have a great day, everybody. Thanks for being here, and we'll see you next week at the Breakfast Club. Thank you.
Thanks, Joe. Bye.
You're welcome.